Hey, what's up guys? We're over here with Joe out here at Danny Giannini's Prerunner Factory, pretty much. Joe has been a longtime friend. Quick fun fact, Joe's the reason why I know about superstition, and I think a lot of the reasons why a lot of our friends do. All right, Joe, tell us about this thing, man. Make, model, all that stuff.
So it's a 96 Ford Ranger. Still has a stock motor, just a 3.0 V6. I have another motor for it at home, a 383 stroker that's going in soon. Money's tight when you're a single homeowner and you have a lot of cars and guns and all that shit's so much money.
Yeah, and you want to jump a truck and go over the whoops.
Exactly. So you got to put a little bit into everything. So it takes a while to get it going, but...
Can I just say that I completely admire that you've all of these years had this 3.0. Have you ever blown? God forbid, but have you ever had an engine?
I've lost one rod and piston because I found out it's not a submarine.
Got it.
Otherwise, it's a stock motor. It's gone through probably 5 or 6 transmissions, though. It doesn't like that.
Okay.
Break those all the time. But the motor just keeps going.
So you had shared something earlier about the transmissions. You had said before it was automatic.
Before it was automatic. Automatic likes to shift when it's ready to, unless you have a manual valve body, but they don't really make anything for these, so I swapped it with a 5-speed.
Okay.
Manual 5-speed, and that gave it a ton more power, and it lets you be able to stay in gear in the sand when you need it, instead of it shifting on you.
Right.
So that really helps a lot.
That's awesome, man. A 3.0 Ranger, man, and it's making it out there. I don't know if we've ever featured a Ranger with the 3.0 built to this level on the channel. All the high school kids are stoked right now. They're like, see?
And I've had it since high school. I've had it since I was 17, so I've had it for like 19 years.
This is the high school truck, dude.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Leveling kit to a lift kit to wider beams, then I bent those, then it just started escalating and bent the frame, then the cab started tearing apart. So once I got long travel in the front, then everything else started bending and breaking, and you just slowly start building little by little after that, and it takes forever if you don't have a lot of money. So
you had the leaf springs for a bit. Did you have like the Deaver setup?
Yeah, I had the Prerunner pack, the F31s.
Okay.
I broke those just about every year.
Wow.
Break a leaf or two in the pack, and I have to take them out, give them back to Deaver. They say it's good to go. Next trip, I break a different leaf. I just kept breaking them one after another.
Dude, you're just too hardcore, bro. I think when you're keeping up with all your friends, you know, and having a good time out there, you just kind of get lost in it.
Yeah.
And, hey, dude, it happens.
Yeah.
But you know, I've always said this. I've said this in one of the other episodes. Like leaf springs and gradually building a truck builds so much character and appreciation for the truck.
You really learn how to drive.
Big time, dude. So, I mean, if this guy were to get behind the wheel of like with 40s and blah, 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 and this and this and that, by the fact, as a matter of fact, you don't need that. But if you would, this guy would eat it all up. I think so, man, you know? And then learning like, you know, how to carry your power and weight momentum, you know, sizing up holes, G-outs, all that stuff. Like learning with limited suspension gives you a whole different sight. Right? Anyways.
Small motor and limited suspension. You learn how to drive.
Enjoy every phase of your vehicle. You don't need all that crap. But as you grow and you want more, it's cool. But jumping into that's probably not the best way to go. Enjoy your truck. Enjoy that body lift. You know what I mean? Enjoy those wheel spacers, but truly enjoy it. Have a good time. Learn how the truck flows. Rant over. Tell us about the front of this thing, man.
So it's a BTF front end. It's about 11 or 12 years old.
Okay.
It's about 6 over, equal length beams with crossover steering. It's a Dana 35 front end, so it's off of an Explorer. So the last foot of the beam is what you would get off an Explorer.
Nice.
And then Brandon at BTF built the whole front end. I've never had a single problem with it.
BTF does some great work, man. What's up with the steering with this thing?
It's still all BTF. Just recently I added a RAM on there. Just a kind of upgraded steering box. Not really nothing special or fancy. It's called a Redhead.
Okay.
So it's just an aftermarket one that still gives ports for the RAM, and it's half the price of all the other ones.
It works.
Never had an issue with it. Everything's basically exactly the same. It's been the same way for... The only thing is I added bypass the last year. Otherwise, this is...
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Coilover forever.
That's wild. Hell yeah.
Bypass now.
How does that feel?
So much better.
Yeah.
So much. I don't even... I could bottom the front end out all the time before.
Yeah.
You know when you run out of travel.
Yeah.
Now I don't even notice it anymore.
You're just like...
It's just like...
Yeah.
So these were actually remote reservoir bypasses, and I had a tube welded here and basically made it a piggyback.
Oh, okay.
So I don't have to deal with the hose.
Right. We don't like to deal with hose of bypasses. Anyways, tell us about this, dude.
This is just the BMS cover, just to cover the snout and bearings.
Okay.
But these are 15-inch walkers that are practically impossible to find anymore.
Okay.
They haven't made 15s in a long time. They're really, really, really rare.
Awesome.
I've had these basically since I've had the truck.
Love it.
So the original ones, I've never had a problem with them either.
Well, I love the Walker look, dude. It's that classic pre-runner, dude. Walker Evans wheel. It's like the Robbie Gordon. It's just like forever awesome.
I wish they were 17s, but
at
the time the truck had 15s, so
it works.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of goes into what we were saying, right? The wheel size, the tire size, and all of that is just it's balanced for what the truck is.
Yes. Exactly.
And I think that's what's made the truck go for so long. Like, you don't need to grow bigger than what's necessary.
If it had 37s, I'd be breaking this front end all the time.
Right,
but
right.
It's
built for this.
It's just strong enough to handle 35s with no problems.
Right. The radius arms right here. Everything looks super epic back here, nice and clean and strong. So what are you thinking with the motor? Like you said, you want to drive it a little more before it's down.
Yeah, because once the new motor goes in, I don't have everything that I need. So it's going to be sitting for a little bit while I buy stuff. You know, I still need another $1,000 cooler, and I still got to get some work done to the transmission that I have.
It all adds up. And what was the plan with the new motor? You were saying you want to keep things with super simple.
Like it's carbureted. I'm not going to run fuel injection. It's going to have analog gauges. I want as little amount of electrical as possible.
Simple, clean.
Simple, no electrical, nothing ever happens.
Right.
It's all mechanical. You can tell what's wrong right away.
No, it makes sense, dude. It makes sense for the build and what the truck is. And I think that's a great message. You guys don't need to do all of that. If that works that way and it's efficient, there you go, dude. Take us to the back of this thing and tell us about this rear end, and then we'll go over the details of the rest.
So it's a Curry 9-inch. Right now with the tires, it's about 85 inches wide.
Nice.
The front's about 87. I've had that rear end. It sat in a shed for about 8 years before I finally put it together.
Wow. And then you put it together and...
When the back half was done.
Okay.
Or when the back half was being built.
So 8 years, this Curry axle sitting there, and it comes right out the gate swinging, ready to rip.
No problems. Never had a single issue.
Dude, you know what's funny? I had a Curry rear end in my Frontier when I linked it and everything. That thing was beefy, bro. And it was a Prerunner edition. I don't know if they still give different variations of it. 35 spline. And I beat the freaking crap out of that thing. I had 35s on it too. 15, 35s. And I beat the crap out of it. Never anything. Yeah. I'm talking like 12-foot drop-offs. Like I'm talking like 15 feet in the air over and over. And it was built for what it was done. I'm not advising you to do that, people, but I will say that thing really hung in there, bro. How confident do you feel with like the drivetrain setup right now with your rear end and the drive shaft?
Great. I think it's perfect.
On a Ranger, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Because that's the crap that always goes out.
Yep.
Right? That damn drive shaft.
Well, you got to think a stock Ranger has a tire this big, like golf cart tires on it.
Yeah.
That's what everything was built for.
Yeah. I bet all the kids at home, like all the high school kids with their Rangers, are like, yeah, dude, screw my drive shaft. It's worth it, guys. Get that drive shaft dialed in, man. Because you never know. Tell me about this back half. You guys got this ready to go. You guys put this together. I love the way it's laid out. Got a lot of up travel. Look at that up travel, guys. Sheesh.
I think there's about 11 inches of up travel at ride height. When it is fully bumped, the bottom of the chassis is 3 inches off the ground under the cab.
Beautiful.
So it has a lot of up travel.
Beautiful, dude. So if the time ever does come where you go with a 37 or a 39, you know, dude, that's a ton of travel.
Yeah, it helps a lot. Because when this was leaf spring before, I found myself looking for pennies a lot.
Just like, yeah.
Scraping the ground. It was very scary.
Donkey kicking.
Rangers frames are really low in the back, so they don't give you much up travel.
Right.
So going to this was a game changer.
Yeah.
Now it just stays nose up and the back down. And
just soaking it up. Complements that travel in the front. So how much travel in the rear do you have now?
The rear is strapped at 27 inches.
That's why that 3.0 is working.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. A lot of people will be like, oh, I need more power. I need to get this. I need to get that. Dude, put your money into the suspension and the drivetrain. You know, if you guys are building at that point, of course, first a cage, build off of it. But I will say, suspension, dude. I had a 3.3 liter V6, absolute trash can. And I would be like passing up fools with V8s and, you know, and just because the suspension was dialed.
Because you could have a $50,000 motor, and if your suspension ain't that great, you're only going to go so fast.
Exactly, dude. Those whoops will regulate you, dude.
Yep.
Well, this looks great, man. Great work back here. We got the dual batteries over here. Very cool.
Odysseys has a 32-gallon Jeep speed cell, so it's like tapered in the back.
That's what I have too. Yeah, it was a good deal.
Eventually, I'm going to have one built to fit this whole back half back there. But
this works.
But that works for now.
Absolutely. You got all the weight back here behind the axle. Very good.
The whole truck weighs about 4,200 pounds.
Hell yeah.
It's not very heavy, so it's one of the things that my goal is to keep it as light as possible also.
Dude, this is the right way to set it up, guys. Fuel behind the axle, 2 tires behind the axle. He even has the jack back here, the tool bags, all this stuff, right? Shovel is sick. Pretty gangster right there. It's great, man. All the weight's back there, and that's probably why this thing boogies so well.
Yeah. You want most of the weight towards the rear, so it keeps the front end up and keeps the back down, and then it just...
Yeah, what do you do on a dirt bike, right? Exactly. Stand up and lean back, bro. Yeah. Hey, so you're working with Danny here and there?
Danny is a phenomenal fab guy.
Yeah.
So
he's so damn humble.
Yes.
He's like, it's okay. Yep. It's all right, I guess. And we're like, bro, you're Picasso over here, dude. You're freaking Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci. Working with Danny, getting a lot of projects out. Does that give you more confidence to work on your truck in the future?
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely. Like,
do you feel like you're a whole new person now?
Oh, yeah. Like, I still only know a little bit from what he knows, you know?
Right.
And I thought I knew a decent amount of stuff before, and then coming here and learning the right way to do things.
Yeah.
How this should look and how to make it and stuff like that. It's made me feel a lot more confident because Danny's very smart.
Well, take us through this beast, man. Let's see. Got Got a nice cage in here. Did you guys build this cage or?
This was built by Moore's Metalworks.
Oh, Eric.
Eric.
Hell yeah.
So Eric built the engine cage and the cab cage. Most of the engine cage is gone now.
Okay.
But the cab cage is pretty much still what he did.
That's awesome.
I told him I wanted it as tucked as pretty much possible, so it's like just barely touching the roof everywhere.
Eric is a geometry man. I feel like guys like Eric and Danny, like they're a special breed, bro.
Yes.
So Eric Moore's Metalworks actually built the chassis of my truck. And worked with DIY Off-Road to configure my front end. And then as I went to bigger shocks and a lot of changes, Morgan made some really awesome modifications to kind of accommodate what I wanted with that. But it's really cool, man. I think Eric is really a really talented dude and does some really great stuff.
And he built Daniel's Ranger.
Oh, Daniel's truck, yeah.
To the center mount kit,
right.
He built the whole truck basically.
And Darren Parsons 1447.
Yep, same thing.
Ever heard of it? No, just kidding. You know what I mean? It looks great in here, dude. Eric, good job, bro. Hopefully you see this. You probably won't because you're a machine working in the shop, kicking it.
Yeah.
But third seat Ranger?
Third seat, yep. That's pretty rare in the Ranger.
Sick.
A lot of people ask me how I got it to fit, and it just barely fits, but it fits.
I love it,
It's not
dude.
a full-size seat. It's PRP's.
Like a junior seat?
Yeah, it's like a junior seat, exactly. It's
Awesome.
the only thing that would fit.
Oh, that's great, man.
So I tell people, hey, if you can fit there, you can ride in there.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Very cool. So from automatic to manual, we got this thing right here. We got the Camberg handbrake right there. Nice looking dash. Everything looks nice and clean in here.
Still stock until...
Door cards right here.
I got a McNeil fiberglass dash that's going in when the motor goes in.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You're going to get rid of this bad boy right here?
Yeah.
I get it. It makes sense.
I've cut it up over the years, adding switches and gauges, trying to find places to put stuff because there's not much room.
Right.
So once I get the fiberglass one and whatever gauges go in it, it's staying the way it is.
Right on.
I want to cut it up and change it many times. I mean, it's going to have AC and stuff in it. It'll be full interior when it's done. I'm just going to leave it at that.
Heck yeah.
Not going to go super crazy.
I think you're on the right track. That's what I think. When I see this truck, extremely clean, well thought out. He may say simple. I think like just perfectly laid out. I think it's great, man. Well, great job, man. I love this thing. Again, just seeing this thing driving down the street, I'm sure is getting a lot of people stoked. This thing is really cool. Well, dude.
It'll look a lot better once I paint the fiberglass. So I'm about to put new bedsides on.
Yeah.
These are 6s. I have 8s at home. I could
Nice.
go with 10s, but then I would have to cut too much of it out into the taillight to
Right.
clear the spares.
Right.
So I'm just going to stick with 8s.
That's
and
cool.
Once I put those on, then all the glass will be painted so it'll match.
So what's next for it is I hear new glass, new paint, and within the next year, potentially a new motor.
And I'm on the lookout if anybody has one.
Let's hear it.
Looking for a Dana 44 TTB front end from a Bronco.
Okay.
Because I'm going to go 4-wheel drive on this.
What? Yeah. Dude, it's going to be awesome and super with that thing.
That's my plan.
Dude, I love this. These are some great goals for this thing. Super cool, dude. Thank you so much, bro, for meeting up with us, having this thing done. This gentleman right here has been such a great friend to all of us, showing us super, coming out to all these events, coming out to things that we do over the years. Super grateful. And just thank you, bro. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for checking out this episode. If you guys have any questions, let us know. Drop them in the comments. Awesome build. If you guys want to see this thing at the Off-Road Expo coming up, let us know. We're doing the Off-Road Expo this year at the Orange County Fairgrounds. It's actually moved from the Fairplex to Orange County. And we're going to be doing live built to destroys. Oh. Yeah, like we're going to stack them up throughout the day. Oh, so it's not just going to be like people, doing dumb donuts all day. It's going to be actually informational. Pretty cool. Very cool. And we're going to get some experts in the industry to explain how things work. So anyways, thanks guys. We'll see you guys. Take care. Later.